Hey there everyone, welcome on into VG Emporium, video game music and more. I'm your host Rage Cage, and today I got for you some shop themes. You know, as my name is, VG Emporium, it's a shop. Shop themes are kind of a thing, and this is the 8th episode of them. There should have been more by now, but my quest for a particular sound of shop theme was getting in the way, so I finally did away with that, and here we are. So without any further ado, let me tell you about this opening track of ours here. This is BGM Shop from the DS game Grand Trucker Aniki Shigoto to Kenka to Koimoyou, composer unknown. So now this here game is a trucker adventure game. Basically, you drive a truck from one point to another, but in between that, you have sections where you're loading the truck with a forklift, you're sorting stuff that you're delivering, I'm guessing, and then parts where you're actually running around town, just on foot, doing things. I imagine maybe this is where the theme plays. I don't know. All I could really find of this is just brief gameplay footage and the trailer, which, just tells me what I just told you. And from what I've seen in those videos, it looks a lot like Grand Theft Auto, and I'm talking about like the first Grand Theft Auto games. We're talking top-down sprites here, folks. And yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't find a composer for this game at all. I've looked all over, nothing. But the music, it's pretty good. It's definitely worth a listen. As far as this track, it's a pretty nice little shop theme. It's got that nice cheesy energy to it. Kind of have you bopping down the aisles. Very nice Konbini vibes. But now getting into our next track, I'm really happy about this find. This is called Shop from Syobon Musuo, though the original name of the song is FM Kidz by MusMus, also known as Watson. That was FM Kidz by MusMus, also known as Watson, but for the sake of this episode, we're going to call it Shop from Syobon Musuo. And this here is an interesting one. So Syobon is originally this game called Syobon No Action, which was, jokingly called Cat Mario because you play as this cat character in a world that is like Mario's. You jump, you crack blocks, you jump on enemies, you go through the stages and stuff, but then it adds other elements from other things. But this here game is a 3D mobile game, whereas you play as Syobon, going around whacking other like things that have Syobon's face and other such things with various objects, and they get bigger and bigger as you whack them. And you play until you die. And then once you die, you, as far as I could tell from the videos, you go to the shop to, unlock new things like shoes, clothes, new objects to whack your enemies with. And then you go back and choose your mode and then go back in and start whacking again. But the most interesting thing about this game is that all the music is done by an individual that goes under the name of Watson, but all the music is made available through the website MusMus. And actually I have their about page right here. So MusMus is a privately run free BGM music material site. From composing, performing, and recording to creating and managing the site, Watson personally and happily manages it. And then it goes on to say that all the music on the MusMus website is free to use, and there's no restrictions to how much you can use as long as it's used as BGM. And that could be in, videos, games, commercials, what have you, as long as, you credit them, which is really awesome because, somebody who just has this passion for making music and then just having the gratification of seeing their work being used in somebody's project. Pretty dang cool. So I'll definitely be linking that site in the show notes. Definitely go check it out. It's amazing stuff. So now about this track, FM Kidz, or Shop. I can't help but love it, and I have a feeling it's going to end up as one of my favorites of 2024. What's really cool about this song is it sounds like so many different things that I really like. I mean, right here, this section sounds like it could be out of Pokemon trading card game, and then just like, combinations of different composers that made music for the NEC PC, like Takeshi Abo or Akira Sato, for example. Pretty dang versatile, this Watson. So now let's get into our next track. And it's called Wouldn't You Know, Shop from Super Family Gerende, composed by Kouji Nakagawa. And that funky disco tune was Shop from Super Family Gerende, composed by Kouji Nakagawa. And this here track is super high energy. It's like, what are you shopping for? I mean, what kind of items, gear, equipment requires this kind of intensity? I'll tell you what, skiing equipment. That's right, folks. Skis, snow pants, jackets, those weird things that you push yourself on the snow with. I don't know what they're called. That's what you're getting here. Yep. Gerende, I guess, roughly translates to ski slope, and this is part of the Super Family Sports series by Namco, so Super Family Gerende. Yeah, as far as I can tell from this, you have a bunch of different modes. You have like a free skiing mode where you can just practice and stuff. Looks like you have like tournament and challenge mode, and a full-on story mode. And then, of course, a little window that says cashier, which is, I'm guessing, the shop. And yeah, from what little gameplay I saw of this, it looks pretty good. It has some ridiculous sound effects going on and a lot of falling. A lot of falling. Now, this here game is interesting because it never got a physical release. This was part of the Nintendo Power service. Totally different from the Nintendo Power magazine we had here in the States. No, this was the service where you had the blank cart where you could go to a kiosk where you could load up to 8 games onto the cartridge. And it actually has the honor of being the first exclusive to this service because a couple other games that were released through it eventually got retail physical releases. So that's pretty neat. Now, getting into our composer, Kouji Nakagawa. He's been a member of the Namco sound team since '93, starting with J-League Soccer, Prime Goal. Then we got Yu Yu Hakusho on the Super Famicom, then Super Famista 3, 4, and 5, sound coordination for the PS1 version of Time Crisis, Techno Drive, R4 Ridge Racer Type 4, Ace Combat 3, Electrosphere, Time Crisis, Project Titan, Alpine Racer 3, R, Racing Evolution, Ridge Racer on the PSP, The Idolmaster in arcade, Tales of Legendia, Mario Kart Arcade GP, Ridge Racer 6, The Idolmaster on the Xbox 360, Mario Kart Arcade GP 2, The Idolmaster Live for You, and then his last credits I could find are in 2012. He contributed some songs to The Idolmasters, Shiny Festa, Funky Note, Groovy Tune, and Honey Sound. Why there's 3 versions of this one game? I don't know, but there is. So now moving on, we're getting into Shopping from Tokimeki Memorial 4, composed by Eddie Arakawa. And that was Shopping from Tokimeki Memorial 4, composed by Eddie Arakawa. So yeah, Tokimeki Memorial, if you aren't familiar with it, is a series of dating sim games, with the first game in the series being very influential in the dating sim genre, with all its systems that are going on, like its interactivity, and just all the different endings you can get. And yeah, it's still a dating sim, so what's going on here is, as per usual, you're a high school student that has all these girls that, you're kind of liking, and you kind of do certain things, and, some girls will like you more than others, or all of them will like you. I don't know. I've never played a dating sim, so I don't really know how everything works. But ultimately, you go on a date with a girl, and one of the things you might do is go shopping, where this music comes in play. So yes, though this may not be a shop theme per se, it is still music that'll play when they go into shops while they're shopping, and Tokimeki Memorial does not disappoint with its shopping music. So now about our composer here, Eddie Arakawa, I couldn't really find much on them, other than that they may be freelance because they've worked with a bunch of different companies. So the games that I could find that they're listed under is this one, Tokimeki Memorial 4, then Ys 3 Wanderers from Ys, the 2005 remake, Ys 4 Mask of the Sun, and Ys 5 Lost Kefin Kingdom of Sand. And then we have Dance Dance Revolution S and Juke Beat. And then the title that comes up most predominantly when I look up their name, which is Atelier Elise, Alchemist of Older, or Oidor. I'm not quite sure which one it is. Now jumping right into our next shop theme, this is another shorty. This is coming from the PC Engine, and the title, this is a total shocker, is Shop, and this is coming from Imagination Science World Gulliver Boy, composed by Kohei Tanaka and arranged by Kazuhiko Sawaguchi. and that was Shop from Imagination Science World Gulliver Boy, potentially originally composed by Kohei Tanaka and arranged by Kazuhiko Sawaguchi. And the reason why I say this is, there's a possibility of this originally being composed by Kohei Tanaka is because he did the music for the anime series that this game is based off of, though this could just be an original song that was originally composed by Kazuhiko Sawaguchi for this game, but I don't know. Now you may be wondering, what is this Gulliver Boy thing? Well, it's definitely not related to Gulliver Travels, which is about the man Lemuel Gulliver who goes on adventures and ends up on an island where there's small people, a land where there's giant people, and then eventually the floating city of Laputa, Japan, and so on. Now, I haven't read these stories, but I have seen the animation from 1939 by Fleischer Studios, and, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's a fun watch. And I gotta say, you'll either love or hate Gabby. There is no like. But now, Gulliver Boy is about a boy that is born with some mighty magical powers and gets wrapped up in some crazy worldwide war after seeing the King of Spain, Judo, kill his father. So, he's gonna go after the guy. And this here game is an RPG based off that anime series. And so the setting of the world is kind of like a weird mixture of Mediterranean-ish areas. So you got Spain, Italy, all that. And it's all steampunk. And from what I've read, this is actually a pretty good RPG. But the big draw of this one is that seeing it's a PC Engine CD game is its full motion videos, which are basically just, I think, animated scenes from the show. But, even though they're compressed, they look really good, and the voice acting is all there, too. And it was considered pretty impressive at the time. Though this meant that all the space was taken up by the video, and so there's no CD music in this game. It's all made using the PC Engine's built-in sound chip, as you could probably tell. Now, this song here, though it's short, it's fun, and tells you that the shop you're going to is gonna be an exciting one. Now, getting into our composers here, like I said, I'm not quite sure if this is a song by Kohei Tanaka and arranged by Kazuhiko Sawaguchi, or if it's an original by Sawaguchi, but anyway, here we go. We're going to get into Kohei Tanaka, who has been featured a couple times on VG Emporium. The episode is 15 and 62, so I'm just going to give you the main points. Starting in 82, he has composed music for many anime series, Dragon Half, The Laughing Salesman, G Gundam, and has been one of the lead composers in the One Piece series since 1999. And that includes many of the movies as well. But he has also been composing music for games since 1990, starting with Wizardry 5. Then the others I'd like to shout out are Just Breed, which was featured in episode 15, the Sakura War series, and Gravity Rush 1 and 2, which Gravity Rush was the one that was featured in episode 62. So at the age of 70, this man has had a pretty full career, and he's still going. Now, Kazuhiko Sawaguchi, he has a much shorter list than Tanaka, though it's a pretty interesting one. He has a lot of sound effects, sound programming, and synth programming credits, but, starting with Fatal Fury Special on the TurboGrafx CD in 1994. Then jumping ahead, we have sound effects on Super Bomberman 5, composition and direction for Veltorv Estelia, sound effects for Egg, Elemental Gimmick Gear, music for Mario Party 2, and then an interesting twist here, he did the opening movie music for Sonic Shuffle, which was basically Sega's attempt at doing Mario Party, but with Sonic. That's a weird game. Awesome music, though. We got Game Boy Wars 3 in 2001, Front Mission on Wonder Swan Color in 2002, did synthesizer programming for Sakura Wars So Long My Love in 2005, El Shaddai Ascension of Metatron, and then his latest credit in 2017 is Gravity Rush 2 for synth programming. But now that's enough yammering from me. We're gonna get into our next track. We're gonna get into something I have no familiarity with whatsoever because I did not own the console that this was on. So we got here Shop, surprising I know, from Market Crashers, or as it's known in the PAL region, Street Pass Trader, from Street Pass Meet Plaza on the 3DS, composed by Monako Hamano and Yuta Sasaki. that was Shop, from Market Crashers, which was part of Street Pass Meat Plaza on the 3DS, composed by Monako Hamano and Yuta Sasaki. So like I said, I didn't own a 3DS. The only thing I really know about it is that it is a slightly more powerful DS with a special mode where you just flip a switch and it makes the top screen 3D-ish. But hey, I have a vague idea of what this Meat Plaza thing is because I kind of know what a Mii is. It's basically your custom-made avatar that you have either on the Wii or the DS or this thing, the 3DS. And you just go around this plaza doing random things. And one of the things was this game, Market Crashers, where you're doing the most exciting thing you could ever do. Trading stocks. Or maybe I should say, Sorry, couldn't help myself. A couple years ago is when all that stock stuff was going on with GameStop and everything. I worked with a couple of guys that were really all about their stocks and their crypto and, dealing in gold. And these guys were actually, one of them especially, you could see the gold fever in his eyes. On the weekends, he goes digging. Serious digging with excavators and stuff. Madman. But yeah, I guess this is a mini game that you could purchase on Street Pass or whatever that is for Meat Plaza. And I guess this theme plays in the shop, where you're either buying stocks at very low prices or selling them at higher prices. And then what the other modes are, I imagine some other more in-depth stock trading stuff going on, I don't know. But what I do know is that this is a smooth, chill, and somewhat groovy song to just do some of your shopping to, probably for something a little better than stocks. Sorry, I just don't get it. But it's no wonder that this song is as good as it is because, starting off, we got Monako Hamano, who has been with Nintendo for a good while now. I mean, with their first audio credit being Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. So starting off pretty strong, and then was also part of Super Metroid, Game Boy Camera, Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Metroid Fusion, Wario World, Metroid Zero Mission, Brain Age 2, Tetris DS, Metroid Prime 3, Wario Land Shake It, Donkey Kong Country Returns, and then jumping ahead we got Mii Force, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge, Metroid Samus Returns, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, hey, Pikmin! And then her latest credit is Metroid Dread in 2021. So now Yuta Sasaki was kind of harder to pin down because, well, the first things that came up when I looked up this name were either the MMA fighter Yuta Ulka Sasaki, the cross-dressing character Yuta Sasaki from Cuticle Detective, I guess, and then retired footballer Yuta Sasaki, and that's soccer player for us here in America. Yeah! But then I was able to narrow it down to 2 Yuta Sasakis with VGM credits, one having no credits related to any Nintendo projects whatsoever, one of them being Gravity Rush 2. And then the second one, actually having Nintendo credits, we got Flower Town, Disney Art Academy, Metroid Prime Federation Forces, and then Pikmin 4 in 2023. And that lines up much better. Alright, so now getting into our last shop theme of the episode here, yes? This one's here a little different. This is Shop 1. One shop of many shops, yes, from Star Cruiser 2, composed by Toshia Yamanaka, Kenichi Yaguchi, and or Tetsuya Nakano. and that was Shop 1. From Star Cruiser 2, the Odysseus project, composed by Toshia Yamanaka, Kenichi Yaguchi, and or Testuya Nakano. But going off how this compares to the music from Star Cruiser, I want to say that this was Yamanaka. But it's not going to stop me from talking about the other two. But before we get into that, talk to you a bit about Star Cruiser 2, which takes place 5 years after the, in-game timeline of Star Cruiser, in which after our main character, Brian, I know, great space name, huh? Defeats the organization VIII, he goes on a space journey and then eventually returns to Ganymede, where he just finds out about this exploration project called Odysseus. And, he joins in this, and what does he discover? I don't know. You gotta play the game yourself. There's a translation for this game. I believe it's for the PC 98 version. Check it out. I might just do that on my Mio Mini. And yeah, this game and Star Cruiser are pretty interesting combination of different genres because it is a shooter, but it's an adventure, it's a simulation, and RPG. Like all these elements put together. With the shooter one, you're flying around in space, kind of first person. There's all these polygonal objects going on because this is like early 3D polygonal graphics in a game, and you're shooting stuff down. But then you're also exploring on foot, going into towns, meeting NPCs, talking to them, going into shops, such as this. And like I said, there's multiple shop themes. So there's Shop 1, which is the one you're hearing right now. Shop 2, which is a little bit more of like a honky-tonk tune. And, I think, depending on which kind of shop you go into, you get one of either of these. And then there's Energy Shop, where I'm guessing you go in and get energy or fuel for your craft and weapons. And I got that one up here in the front counter with me because I'm definitely going to be sharing that one at some point because it's really, really good. So now this song here, Shop 1, definitely carries over that same kind of sound from Star Cruiser, though halfway through, it kind of gets this sound of almost like Crusader Ascente Solil and Dynamite Heady a bit as well. If you're familiar with those soundtracks, then you might be able to actually hear what I'm talking about. But now, without further ado, let's get into those composers, starting with Toshia Yamanaka, who's our main guy here, and his first project was in 1988 with Star Cruiser, the PC 88, 98, and Sharp X68K versions. We then have Wibarm, Night Arms, the hybrid framer. Tenka Toitsu did music for the PC 98 port of Prince of Persia, and then rearranged the music for Star Cruiser on the Sega Genesis in 1990. Spin Dizzy Worlds, also known as Spin Dizzy 2, which is an amazing soundtrack, and you need to do yourself a favor and go listen to that. Battle Zek Den in 1994 on the SNES, then in 1999, with his first project as part of the Treasure Sound team, Rakugaki Showtime on the PlayStation, then Bangai-O on the N64 and Dreamcast, Sin and Punishment in 2000 on the N64, Dragon Drive D-Master's Shot on the GameCube in 2003, and then the Wii version of Sin and Punishment in 2007. And that's his last audio credit I could find. And then he has a couple other credits, 3D object design in Star Cruiser 2, and motion program in BLUE, Blue, Legend of Water, in 1998 on the PlayStation. And so this brings us to Tetsuya Nakano, who only has 4 credits to his name, but he worked alongside Toshia Yamanaka at Cyberhead, or Arsis, I'm not quite sure which one it is, on Spin Dizzy 2, both the PC 98 and X68K version, as well as Prince of Persia, the SNES port, and Star Cruiser 2, the Odysseus project. And then Kenichi Yaguchi, I can only find Star Cruiser 2, Super Famicom Magazine Volume 21, The New Sound Museum, and Star Ixiom in 1999. And that's all I got for you. So thank you all for coming into VG Emporium and enjoying all these fine shop themes. I guarantee I will be having more in the future, a little more often hopefully. As I may have mentioned in the last couple shop themes episodes, I have a nice little stockpile. I just gotta, put them together in a nice little variety for each episode, and so it's not like all just one sound of a thing, hopefully. So something to look forward to. So now if this is your first time into VG Emporium, welcome. And, of course, can find VG Emporium on all the different podcatchers such as Spotify, Apple, YouTube, YouTube Music, Amazon Audible, as well as on TerraPlayer, which is a hub for all kinds of different video game-related podcasts. And there is, of course, the main website, vgemporium.wordpress.com. And if you'd like to interact with VG Emporium, like feedback, suggestions, or even, make a special order, which is a song request, you can send it on over to vgemporium@gmail.com or join the Discord, which is linked in the show notes, where you can do all those things as well as interact with other shoppers here at VG Emporium. And then, of course, you can follow VG Emporium on all the different social media, such as Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, as well as myself, your host, Rage Cage, on those same social medias, RAYJKAYJ. Now, make sure to come on back in next week because I got quite a doozy for you folks. We're going to be looking at failed CD consoles. And there are, of course, the obvious ones in there, but then some I didn't even know existed. And there is a surprising amount of really good music buried in there with all the wreckage. So get ready for deep discounts on delightful ditties from disastrous devices.